Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Well, I don't know what time it is on your side of the world, but on my side of the world, it's bedtime. And I almost forgot to deliver this video. And I got ready to go to bed. I'm all prepared for bed, and something felt missing. And it's like, you know what? There's something that I didn't complete today. And I looked at my calendar and I'm like, well, today is Lupus Facts Tuesday. I promised my community I would, deliver a video every Tuesday containing several lupus facts. And I said, you know what? Let me get up and I'm going to push through. So it may be good morning on your side of the world, but on my side of the world, it's good night. And here I am, ready to go ahead and push forward and do this video for Lupus Facts Tuesday. I'm not going to let you guys down. Anyway, my name is Laura, and I would like to welcome you to my channel, Laura's Lupus. As you know, I created this channel to talk about all things lupus, to talk about the day-to-day challenges of living with lupus. And as we talk about the day-to-day challenges, also, I wanted to create a channel where I could bring about more awareness, to educate and to encourage lupus warriors like you and I. Okay? And so, if this is your first time coming to the channel, or if you enjoy the content that I provide on this channel, please just take a few seconds to hit the like button, subscribe, and share the information. Sharing the information helps to get it out there, so that it can be a form of information and a tool of resource for those newly diagnosed with lupus, or for those that have been diagnosed with lupus and may be experiencing something different with their symptoms, and they're not quite sure if it's a symptom of lupus. As we know that lupus is a mysterious disease, and it has so many facets to it. There are so many symptoms, and we're learning so much about this disease, not only as lupus warriors, but even the medical field. They're learning more and more about lupus, and it's because more people like myself and other content creators, they're willing to come and tell their lupus stories. I've had lupus for a long time. And when I was diagnosed with lupus, there was a toll-free number that you would call. They would send you out a packet. And if you had any additional questions, you could call that toll-free number during hours of operation, and you could actually speak to a person. Okay? But now you can click on YouTube and you can listen to someone like myself tell their story about lupus. And sometimes you may be like, you know what? I had that symptom. Or the light bulb goes off. I didn't know that that was a symptom of lupus. A lot of times when we're diagnosed with lupus, my friends, um, we have no clue what lupus is. Or we may have heard of lupus, but we don't understand what lupus is. We have no idea how it's going to impact our life, what the symptoms are, what does it mean to have or live with lupus, what does it mean to live with a chronic illness. And it can be overwhelming to get a diagnosis of lupus and just have to do all of this research, or continually calling your doctor, or continually calling the Lupus Foundation to get more additional information. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we live in an information age where you can just click and turn on a video and you can hear the story of someone else, how they're dealing with lupus, or, you know, what they experienced as a lupus patient, or they're experiencing as a lupus patient. And you can have a sense of being connected to someone. Because sometimes, as a lupus patient, to be honest with you, we feel like we're the only one, or we feel like we can't talk about our disease, or we feel like no one will understand even if we do try to, talk about it, or if we try to put words to what we're feeling on the inside. Because everything with lupus, sometimes it's not, you can't see it from our outer appearance. Have you ever had someone to tell you, well, you don't look sick? Most of the times it's what's going on inside. We may look perfectly fine on the outside, but inside our cells and our inner being is doing it's doing somersaults. You know, we're going through so much, but we look okay on the outside. And that's just another facet of the lupus disease. That's just another part of how mysterious and how much we still have to learn about this disease called lupus. You know, we're learning together as a community, as patients, but then also the medical community is learning more and more. So it's very important for videos like this to be shared, to get the information out there. And even if you don't have lupus, but you know someone that's been touched by lupus, what a burden you take off a friend or your spouse or a relative or a coworker when you can come and say, "Hey, how you feeling?" Or, "You know what? Um, I watched this video last night, and you know what? I think this would be helpful. You know, this is another lupus patient or lupus warrior just like you." Or, "You know what? I watched this video, and I think I have a little bit more of an understanding as far as what you're going through. I don't completely understand it. I can't walk in your shoes because I don't have lupus, but you know what? I understand enough that I can talk to you about it. I want to hear what you're feeling. I want to discuss it with you. You know, let's sit down and talk about this together." So that's why it's so important to share the videos, um, to subscribe and to like the videos because it helps the community to grow. It helps the information and the resource and the tools that we provide. It helps it to get out there and it helps more people. Okay? So that's why I'm going to go ahead and at the beginning of the video, ask you to like, subscribe, and share. Okay? Going to get that out the way at the beginning of the video. So today I'm going to share 6 facts with you about lupus. Um, if you're newly diagnosed, this may be new information to you. If you've been diagnosed for a while with lupus, this may be old information. But then don't be surprised, even for someone who's had lupus for a long time, they may not know this because you know what? I've had lupus for a long time, and I tell you, these lupus facts are really opening my eyes um, to understanding more about lupus and just opening my eyes to some things about lupus that I didn't know. I didn't have a clue. Okay, so let's jump right into the video. I don't want the video to be too long. Let's jump into Lupus Facts for Lupus Facts Tuesday. And you know what? Thank you for stopping by my channel. If you've already subscribed and you've been rocking with me a while, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. If you have any additional information or facts or video that you want me to talk about, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. And I'll try to make sure to respond to your comments if I can see them. And also, if you have additional questions, if I don't have the answer, I will try to get the answer and provide it to you in video form. Okay? So, fact number 1. Did you know that lupus is more common in African American women, American Indian women, and Alaska Native women? And you may say, "You know what, Laura? I know males with lupus, and I know females of other ethnicities that have lupus as well." And that's very true. But lupus is more common in these ethnic groups that I just mentioned. For what reason? We don't know. Again, that's the mystery of lupus. We don't know why um, it does what it does. We don't know why the symptoms are so different from person to person. What we do know is that there are many facets to lupus, and it's not a one size fit all disease. Okay. Um, and let me add this too. There may be other ethnic groups that have lupus, but you know what? I would recommend that maybe you do like a genealogy research or an ancestry research, and you may find somewhere in your DNA, in your ancestry line, that you may have African American in your ancestry. You may have Native American Indian in your ancestry, or you may have Alaskan Native in your ancestry. You may be Caucasian, you may be Asian, but in your ancestry, you have one of these 3 ethnic groups that have a predisposition for being diagnosed with lupus, okay? And like again, I said, we don't understand why these three ethnic groups have more of a higher predisposition for developing lupus. It's just something, we're still studying and trying to understand. So a lot of the facts that I present to you, they are facts that have been researched and proven, but still we can't answer the question, why? And a lot of times as a lupus patient, we have a lot of questions, why? And just for some reason right now, some answers we may not have right now. Maybe in the future, with more diagnostic tools, possibly finding a cure and more studies and research, maybe we will have answers to all of our questions why. I've had lupus for a long time, and guess what, my friend? I still have questions. Why? There's a lot of things that I still don't understand about what's going on with me. I don't understand why. One of my whys is that why am I the one in my family and no one else in my family has lupus? Well, you know what? I fit the profile. I'm African American, so I have a higher disposition of being diagnosed with lupus. Why? I don't know. Okay? All right, fact number 2, moving right along. African American women are diagnosed with lupus at a younger age than any other ethnic group. Again, that, poses the question, why? We don't know. We don't know. Number 3, African American women have a higher risk of developing lupus kidney disease. And lupus kidney disease, or any kidney disease, the medical terminology for that is nephritis. And African American women are at a higher risk of developing nephritis than any other ethnic group. Um, and sometimes that can be due to um, diet, lifestyle. It can depend on how active or, how aggressive the lupus is on the kidneys and in the kidneys. And also, it can be due to just medical, medical diagnosis, getting an early diagnosis and getting into treatment early enough, knowing the symptoms, all of that can play a big part in developing a higher risk for lupus nephritis. Okay? And number 4, did you know this? Listen carefully. You ready for this? You can have several autoimmune system diseases along with lupus at the same time. It's called overlapping autoimmune system diseases. So you can have lupus and you can also have several other autoimmune system diseases at the same time. This autoimmune system disease umbrella, there are so many diseases that fall under that. Some of the symptoms mimic each other, and a lot of times within the first 2 years of a person being diagnosed with lupus, they're also diagnosed with other autoimmune system diseases. When you're first diagnosed with lupus, you may be on one medication. But then within the first 2 years, there may be several other medications added. And it could be due to other symptoms of your lupus to try to calm those symptoms down. Or it could be because you are diagnosed with other autoimmune system diseases after being diagnosed with lupus. And sometimes you can go in and you can be diagnosed with a different autoimmune system disease and later find out that you also have lupus. So, it's just, I don't know, this just blows my mind that you can have several. And what are some examples of other autoimmune system diseases that you can have? You can have lupus, and you can have an autoimmune disease called celiac disease. And what is celiac disease? It is an extreme sensitivity to gluten. You can also have lupus and you can have rheumatoid arthritis at the same time. And as we know, rheumatoid arthritis affects the joints. It causes a lot of pain and stiffness and swelling. You can have all three of these at one time: lupus, celiac, and rheumatoid arthritis. Okay? Um, you can also have lupus and Raynaud's disease or Raynaud's syndrome. Well, what is that? Raynaud's disease is when your hands or your feet, in response to a temperature change or an extreme sensitivity to cold temperatures, like anything below 40 degrees, it goes from that nice red color on the inside to white to blue. And you can have these episodes several times a day. Um, Most of the time, the episodes, they only last for a few minutes. Depends on how fast you can get warm or the temperature changes, or you can get yourself, warmed up. But Raynaud's disease can be very painful depending on how long the episode lasts. Also, you can have an episode of Raynaud's disease in a response to a stressful situation. So Raynaud's phenomenon can be triggered by temperature changes, especially cold weather, and also a response to a stressful situation that you're experiencing at this time. Or if you're feeling stress in your body, you can experience a Raynaud's disease episodes. Okay, and it can be very painful if it lasts for a long time. So you can have these as well as other autoimmune system diseases that I didn't name tonight, but you can have overlapping, and one symptom may impact. Let's say, for instance, you have lupus and you have celiac disease. Well, sometimes the symptoms from the celiac disease can impact your lupus and cause a flare. Okay. um Fact number 5: did you know that if a woman with lupus becomes pregnant, that she stands a 5% chance of passing on lupus to her unborn child? Now, a woman with lupus is okay as long as, depending on what her physician tells her, it's okay for her to get pregnant and for her to have a family and have children. But she does stand a 5% chance of passing on lupus to one of her children or all of her children. Also, with lupus, get this: one of the markers for diagnosing lupus, if you're a female, you may find that the doctor may ask you, have you ever had a miscarriage or several miscarriages for unknown reasons? So one of the dangers of a woman with lupus becoming pregnant, is that she can have a miscarriage for unknown reasons. But again, I'm not a doctor. As far as you getting pregnant, if you're female and you're watching this video, you need to discuss your risk for pregnancy and childbearing with your doctor. But you do stand a 5% chance of passing on lupus to your children or to your child. And last but not least, um, lupus fact number 6. Did you know that 50% of lupus patients experience painful mouth sores and ulcers on a regular basis? And painful mouth sores and ulcers, that's one of the symptoms that a lupus patient may experience when they're having a flare. That's when these mouth sores and these ulcers, that's when they show up, when you're experiencing um, a moderate or severe flare. And what happens is that, these sores show up, little white sores. It may make it difficult for you to chew. It may cause like bleeding of the gums. It can just be very painful. And not every lupus patient will experience mouth sores and ulcers, but 50% of them do. Okay? So, I'm going to wrap this video up right now. I didn't want it to be too long. And so those are the 6 facts that I wanted to provide for you tonight on this video. And I hope that you found the information informative, useful, helpful. And I hope that these videos can be used as a resource for you um, on your journey dealing with lupus. Okay, so as I say at the end of every video, there is life after lupus. I hope that this video has found you safe, I hope that this video has found you being the best person or pressing towards being the best person that you can be, being as healthy as you can in all areas of your life, and knowing that lupus is just one part of your life. You have lupus, but lupus does not have you. And each and every day to get up and to press forward and to know that whatever you're experiencing right now, that if you hang in there, it will get better. Today is different than yesterday, and tomorrow will be different than today. All we have to do is just keep pressing forward. Okay, so stay encouraged, Lupus Warriors, and I will talk to you soon on the next video. Okay, so bye for now. Take care.